What's happening, Reds? Welcome back to the show. We have another little drive time match preview for you here. Struggling to get these in on lives at the moment, just have not got any time. It's been a hectic few weeks, but this is your Liverpool versus Tottenham preview. It's been a crazy number of weeks for us as Reds. The last 6 or 8 weeks has been absolute hell at times, trying to figure out how this wheel has come off, this carriage, trying to figure out, you know, what's been the issue, what has dropped off, trying to pinpoint what the issues are. And every week we trying to figure out what it is and break everything down and try and figure it out. Something else cropped up, you know. This week we seen the new home shirt being released. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. I do like the old school design of it. I'm not sold on the neck. Doesn't mean we won't be picking it up. As always, we support the club. I do like the black, and that black and that kind of green. I think that's really nice, the second kit. And the third kit, the white with a bit of grey and red, I think, and it's really nice, real throwback as well. So not too bad. It's our last Nike kit as well, so I think at times when you look at that Nike contract, although it's been lucrative from a money point of view, I think at times they've been really poor in what they've produced. I think the standout one probably is the cream kind of polo one with the green collar. I think was a really nice shirt and kit. I think other than that, it was a kind of a road of kind of rinse and repeat and kind of laziness from Nike, if I'm being honest. But I tell you, some of those concept jerseys I've seen from Adidas for the 25-26 season onwards look absolutely electric. And there's just something, isn't there, about that kind of the red with the striping on it. Just looks really cool, just looks right, doesn't it? So yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think of the new kits for next season? How do you feel about moving back to Adidas? What do you think of the Adidas concept ones that you're saying, all that kind of stuff? Let's get some a little bit of positivity in if we can, you know. We listened to the Gaffer talk the other day. Had a proper go off TNT, didn't he? Do you get the feeling over the next 2 weeks between pre and post match press conferences that this man has a whole bunch of receipts stacked up and he's just gonna knock them off one after the other, each press conference or each TV appearance? He certainly had a lot to say about TNT, didn't he, and about the schedule, and he made the point of, you know, playing on a Wednesday or Thursday and going into a 12:30 kickoff on a Saturday is criminal, he said. Criminal, he said. And he said he kind of didn't care about the schedule of the channels and what that meant and all that. You know, said he would never be subscribing to TNT again or watching it and all, but did make the point if they needed a pundit, he did have good English and all, so that was kind of like light-hearted at the end of the dagger, really, you know. But yeah, it sounds like he has a lot of pent-up frustration with a lot of stuff now, and I don't know. I don't know if this is the way to go out, because you know you can have a built-up legacy there, and there's a way to go out, and maybe some of this stuff should be kept for maybe a book or maybe a documentary or something like that. I know he has a lot of frustration built up, and it's really difficult to dampen that down when you see the end line and you know it's coming 2 weeks, and it's going to be difficult. You know, 9 years at Liverpool, it's been a phenomenal journey at times. It's been a frustrating journey at times for all of us, but no more than him. And then you see how this season has pandered out, gone out on a whimper, flattered to deceive, and there's a lot of finger pointing, there's a lot of shit flinging, there's a lot of shade being thrown within the group, outside of the group, within the fan base, you know, and rivals are just reveling in it. And look, when these kind of things happens at clubs, we would expect nothing less from our rivals, because we would do the exact same. So it's been very frustrating from him, and there's been key moments this season where he would have looked for us to go out and perform and do a job, and we just haven't. You know, no one wants to end their last season as a Liverpool manager losing in the way he does, or drawing in the way he did at Old Trafford. You know, losing in the way that we did in the Merseyside derby. No disrespect to Atalanta, but going out of the Europa League that way as well. And these are kind of key moments that you look back on in that last season and you go, it's just the whole thing just unravelled. And it, as we said on the last podcast, it's weird that it kind of started to unravel, you know, when Bradley got injured, but we had key players coming back. So we were getting some of our first team senior regulars back, and it unravelled. And obviously getting Jota back gave everything a lift, and then he got re-injured again, and he's gone, and he's probably gone for the rest of the season, let's be honest, because our medical team has no concept of time frames at all when it comes to these things. So it's kind of a weird one. And then we had you know, Mogate last week at West Ham, and then it's all smoothed over and it's grand, and you know, then we hear this week, you know, Joe Gomez might be looking for a move, and if a proper move came in with a decent offer, he wouldn't want Liverpool to hold back on it and all this. And that's kind of weird as well, because you know, if you go back a season or two, people would have bit the hand off for an offer for Joe Gomez when he was in that poor run of form and in and out of the team and all. But this season he's been really, really good. Came in at left back, did a great job, real versatile, can play right across the back line, you know, and has really performed at times when he came into that left back position. And there's probably an argument that even when Robbo came back and got fit and all, that maybe Joey should have kept that place, and maybe that's what's frustrated him. And that's been a lot of frustration at times as well. And I often say that when a player goes out injured, they should have to earn their way back into the squad, not just automatically go back in. Now obviously there's times when that's not the case, where you have to take into account other things like, you know, the player himself and all those kind of things. But in general, you know, if I'm looking at the situation there, if Robbo's out and Costas comes in, he's holding the position and he's playing well and performing, Robbo should have to earn his way back in, you know. And likewise with Joey balling out there where we lost Costas and Robbo, you know, I don't think Joey should have been whipped from that position. I think he should have been left in there. And that was it's a real fundamental thing that we can't really put a mark on it. What exactly happened? Where did it come off? Was it too much? You know, people are looking for answers. They always look for answers when things go skew-ways. Why? You know, why? And then you start trying to, if you don't have answers and you realise, well, it might be just a collection or an accumulation of things. And when you don't have answers, then you go a little bit skew-ways yourself and you go seeking answers elsewhere, you know. And that's what I felt last week. I felt last week the boil over with Mo and with Jurgen, I think, was symptomatic of that. I really felt last week, and you know, I wasn't trying to protect Mo Salah in any way, that he should be dropped or should be picked or whatever it is. His form has been horrible since he came back off the AFCON and off that injury. His form has been way below what we expect from Mo Salah. But I think in the way that you're used, if you're trying to send a message to that and sit guys down, if you feel then at a point you need to use them, you don't give a guy like Mo Salah 10 minutes or 12 minutes to try and go out there and put an impression on the game. And I think that bubbled over. But his statement was telling, you know, if I speak there will be fire, which would lead me to believe that there's more going on there than just the last few weeks or his treatment over the last few months. We've seen over the last 2 months anyway, he's been hooked a number of times. You know, I think they averaged it out in the games he's played. He's been getting about 64 minutes or something like that, I've seen. And he's obviously not happy because he obviously wants to play. And I think he feels like he's kind of being scapegoated because he's kind of, we know how good Virgil is and Robbo is and Trent is and all that kind of stuff and all. But Mo is really that last guy in that front line of that trio that were absolutely incredible, Bobby and Mane. And we've seen how Mane left, didn't leave in a real good way. Bobby kind of left in a way that it was what it is, but he was absolutely fabulous for us. And now Mo feels he's probably the third cog in that wheel now to go, and he's going at a time where Jurgen's going as well, you know, and it looks like, for me, I think Mo is gone. I think a lot of the narrative coming out at the club at the moment is, you know, more to protect the valuation maybe within the market, I think anyway. I don't see him staying. I don't think he's happy. Look at the pictures. Look at the pictures even in the new kid is telling. You know, you know, I know a lot of these pictures are contrived for catalogues and stuff like that and all, but you can see it in his eyes. You know what I mean? I can see it in Mo Salah in that new jersey that he doesn't have. He's not going to be wearing that. I'll be shocked if he is. I don't see how it adds up. I don't see how giving him a new contract, he's going to be, what, 33 this year, I think it is. He's won it all with us. He's become a global superstar under the Liverpool brand, and I just don't see it. And I think the problem for us as a fan base, I think we're really struggling to come to terms with the fact that Jurgen's gone and Mo is gone. And I think that's really difficult. And I get it and I understand it. But it's going to be really, really difficult. This is going to be a really difficult summer for us, because I think more than Mo would exit the building. And it might not necessarily be the players that are on the list of players that you want to go. So it's a difficult one. And you can see the reaction in the fan base. You know, it's fractured. If you want Mo to go, you're not a real fan. If you want Mo to stay, you're being questioned over it. You know, the talk of his form digressing, the talk of him losing a yard. I think it's very hard to judge players this season, because the whole team has been out of form since the turn of the year. Since we've switched from the youth players that came in back into getting players back in, I think it's been really, really difficult. So from that point of view, it's really, really hard to judge. So getting on to today's game, we have Spurs. Boy, God, do we owe these one, don't we? Remember back at the start of the season, that match, how crazy it was. And listening to, you know, how the narrative has changed. And we're very similar in a way how our seasons have panned out. First 10 games of the season, Spurs were absolutely electric. You had Ange going around popping his chest out. You know, it's what we do, mate. You know, VAR is there for everyone. The refs are there for everyone. Every team gets injuries. Now he looks like an ostrich wanting to bury his head in the sand. Every time he's being interviewed, he's nearly tucking his fucking chin into his shoes. You know what I mean? And he's lost. And this is the reality now of the Premier League, and the difficulty and the pressure that it puts on you. And now he has to try and deliver on that. His team is bang out of form. Players he was able to lean on now look bang average. Son, I think, you know, hasn't been the same player since the Asian Cup. Not dissimilar to Endo. And a lot of players who come back off these mid-season tournaments struggle to re-find their form. And just come back wasted as well, between travel and time zones and everything else. And then they just can't catch up with the rhythm of the Premier League. I think they put on a real good second half showing against Arsenal. I think first half they were absolutely, you know, they started out okay, but then they pittered away, and Arsenal targeted Ben Davis, and once they did that and opened that up, there was no stopping them. The goals were coming, and could have had a hell of a lot more as well. But they're not a bad side. They have some really good footballers in there. Maddison's in there, Son, Richarlison, Bentancur, Kulusevski. They're just all out of form, similar to us. But this is an intriguing game today, because what will our starting lineup be? Does Mo Salah start today? And if he does, and I want him to, but if he does, it begs the question then, what happened last weekend? Why was last weekend the way it was? Why was he sat down last weekend, brought on for 10 minutes, a big row on the sideline and a hullabaloo, and then this week he starts? And if he starts today against Spurs, and if the game doesn't go the way we want and he's poor again, I'm not just singling him out, but he's a decent example. But if he's poor again and he's not up and in the game and the game isn't going the way you want, no, does he get hooked again on 65 minutes? Or does he get left out there for the whole game? And is the problems that manifested last weekend, are they truly put to bed and resolved? Or is there so much more to it? Let us know your thoughts on what your starting 11 would be. Who do you think starts for Liverpool today? And how do you feel about it a week on from West Ham? Is the narrative the same? Now that we've secured Champions League football, the rest of the season truly really doesn't matter for us. Probably want to maintain third. Don't want to give it up to Aston Villa in any way. But like, I think now that Champions League football is secured, there's not much more to play for now. We're kind of winding down into Jurgen's send-off. And I don't know, and it'd be just on us as well, wouldn't it, to like cough up points, you know, to a Spurs team that's been frighteningly poor. So how will the game go today? You know, that is the key question. You know, can Spurs and Ange Ball bounce back? Can Liverpool find some rhythm and momentum and actually start finishing their dinner? Surely we want to go out these last 3 games and finish in a way that's somewhat diluted but fitting to send Jurgen off. I'd like to see a bit of harmony today by the players. I'd like to see them playing for each other. At moments of difficulty, I don't want to see finger pointing or staring or that kind of thing. I'd like to see us play with a rhythm and a flow. I'd like the Anfield crowd to be up for it. I know it's difficult for them as well because they haven't had a whole lot to shout about in recent times. I was over at the Palace game and the atmosphere was shocking. The football was shocking. Everything was shocking. So it's a big task for Jurgen now to lift the team. And you know, there was talk that Virgil may or may not be available. He's only back in training or whatever it was. Maybe he had a knock or something, or an illness or something. So we'll see if Virgil starts. But it's kind of really, for a Super Sunday, it's a bit unflattering really, isn't it? It's always nice to watch our team on a Super Sunday, and this should be a big game. And in terms of the title race, this should have been a huge game. But obviously it's pitted out to nothing now. It's really a nothing game if you think about it. The only thing that's on the line is we obviously want to win because we're at home and it's at Anfield. But even if we beat Spurs, can we see some maybe green shoots there, or can we show something for Arnie coming in? And you know, I read yesterday as well, there's talk that maybe Pep Linders might be something going on there, which could be very positive for us. Let's see what happens. Disappointing that John Achterberg is leaving. He's been the goalkeeping coach there now, I think, for 14 or 15 years. So there's a massive sea change going on at Liverpool and a lot of upheaval. And I wonder, is a lot of that manifesting itself on the pitch? Could some of these players who have really underperformed this year, could they bounce back next year? You know, if Luis Diaz was to stick around, and I wouldn't be going to Paddy Power in relation to that, but if he was to stick around, could we see a different Luis Diaz? You know, Darwin Núñez, could he suddenly be what we expected him to be? Or is this just a total massive reality check for Liverpool? But let us know your thoughts in the comments. Let us know your starting 11. I'd love to know your prediction for the game as well. I'm going to try and be a bit more positive this week, because we're at home, hoping that Anfield crowd rocks up. generally speaking in the calendar, this would be seen as being a big game, and they're normally a really good game as well. So both teams like to play a brand of football, but it depends what we get today with both teams being in such poor form. So let's see how this goes. I'm going to go for a prediction. I'm going to go for 2-1. And wouldn't it be fitting if Mo Salah picked up the winner, maybe late on or something like that? So let's see what happens. Let's see, can we get that bit of smile back? Let's see, can we get behind Mo and the boys today? Mo, like Shawn Michaels, let him see, can he go off and find a smile? Let's see, can he, you know, find that Mo Salah that we know and love, and harness him and bring him out for these last number of games. Let's see, can we find some way of sending the gaffer off the right way? We don't really even need to talk about players. We know the danger for them. We know who they're missing. The Dougie's out, Ben Davies is out, there's a number of key players to them out. We know where the threats come from. We know where we can target. We seen it last week. We seen in their previous game who they targeted. You know, we know on their day Richarlison, Son, Kulusevski, Bentancur, all these players, they can show up and play really, really well. But I think it's time we, you know, we took stock and we showed up and we try and pull something out of this. I know we're out of a title race, you know, but if we get 3 points today, it's even nice sometimes to still be involved mathematically. I don't see us doing anything. I don't see the other two teams collapsing, but I don't want us to go out on a total whimper. So Reds, show up today. Play your football, play your brand of football, get that Anfield crowd behind you. Let's start today as the day where we give Jurgen something to hold on to as he moves on, and gives Arnie something to hold on to as he comes in. Massive job ahead for Michael Edwards. Massive job ahead in relation to Liverpool Football Club. A ton of work to be done in the background, a ton of work to be done in the squad, as we move into a new period for this club, which could be potentially very exciting. But I think we're going to have to stick with it before we bear the fruits of it. Folks, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button and drop a like on the video. This is the Upper Tier. I'm your host Niall. This is the Shankly Sessions. It's in there as a playlist, the Liverpool podcast we bring you each and every week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. It's a bank holiday here, so enjoy it, be safe. We know things happen on bank holidays, and I'll talk to you again real soon. Up the Reds!